are not like a party people. Like, this is a party house.
Yeah.
Like, if you were a party house, you'd have a ton of people who'd want to move in because they're party people, but no one comes over.
Yeah, but you also don't want to live with party people.
No, which is
Unless you are party people.
But I'm just like, then like, why did they commit to this house? Like, maybe because it was Dylan. And this used to be
I think it was just Dylan's
to be
house.
the hockey guy house.
It was, yeah.
And they stupidly inherited it.
Yeah.
It's too much space for these nerds.
Bad idea.
And then she's like, then I don't want to give up you. And I'm like, listen, I like just moved out of an apartment with my gay best friend. I understand it's hard. We're personality soulmates. And so I'm like, I can totally relate to this friendship, right now. And then like a couple scenes later, and I'm like, I do not relate to this friendship anymore. But then fucking Paige and question mark bust in. They're like, we got ice cream. And question mark has the weirdest fucking face. And then suddenly this like normal scene turns into like the weirdest montage from a teen movie. Like, they're not getting drunk. There's no alcohol. They're like, ice cream, all brain freeze. And they're like pop punk music. They play charades. These fucking nerds. These are the biggest losers. And I'm like, you don't be in this big party house. But I'm just like, guys, like, I feel like this episode is so weird. This is only like 5 minutes into the episode. And I'm like, did they get like the new writers finally got to write their own episode? Or maybe like there's a editor who used to work on teen movies and they're new.
There's just tween movies, really. It's like the writers of Sleepover here.
I was gonna say it is like Sleepover. Like the ice cream thing, it's just like it feels like almost like a spoof.
Yeah.
Like I can't, or like,
was just
or
so
like the
unnatural.
VeggieTales version of a thing.
Like,
it's like a Kids Bop teen movie.
There's such like a weird vibe that it's sort of like an esoteric YouTube video where suddenly they're gonna bust out like, satanic ritual, sacrificing goats.
Exactly.
Holland, I like the way you were like, what is this? Sleepover? But then I guess...
Go fuck yourself.
But I guess Paige and question mark flirt, I guess, with that.
They kiss too. I think they're dating.
No,
They're
they
like
are.
back together.
But they're
totally over the whole thing they went through.
No, I get that. It's just what they were saying and doing to each other was not what humans would do. So I'm like, I guess this is how they flirt. And then Marco and Ellie go upstairs.
But before, did we mention that there was a blackout?
Oh, no.
There's been so many blackouts.
So a blackout happens, and
all across Toronto.
All across the city. So then we see Liberty and Damien have like met up at the dot, and candles are there, and it's like weirdly romantic. And I still don't really understand why they're hanging out, but they're talking about like the valedictorian shit. And then the whole weird montage happens.
Oh, right. And like, okay, Liberty and Damien, they're up for valedictorian, so obviously they're huge nerds. And when nerds to this high level flirt with each other, I get such like secondhand embarrassment. It hurts.
It's so awkward.
It hurts me so much.
But then like after the weird montage, Paige and question mark are like, oh, so we should go to sleep. Like, and he's like, so do you wanna? And she's like, oh, grab these candles and like take them back to my room or something like that. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna go. Like, maybe like don't go by our door or something. It's so weird.
They're like, you guys should study upstairs. Is Paige's room downstairs?
I think so.
I think question marks is because
I think Paige's is downstairs.
I don't know. One of them moved into a weird non-room. I think it was question mark because he has like weird like foldy door. I don't know. Because I thought Paige took Dylan's room.
Paige's is definitely downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Right? I don't know about the layout.
I don't know what the
house.
geography of this fucking house is.
But then Marco and Ellie go upstairs and they're like, oh, I'm gonna miss you. Like,
They're
why are we
acting
moving
like they're
out?
drunk.
It's so weird.
Yeah, they are acting like they're drunk. Like, they don't have the drunk excuse, but they're acting like they're drunk throughout this entire thing.
And like as soon as they sit down on the bed next to each other, that's when I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And they're like hugging and like being playful and they're like, I don't want you to leave. And then she's like, all right, I should go to bed. And she wakes up or stands up and then he pulls her down. It's like, no, don't leave. And
And they kiss each other on the lips goodnight, which I think is weird.
I do not kiss any of my fucking friends.
Yeah, and then she's like, good night. And then they, like, do a quick kiss on the lips. And she's like, no, don't leave. And they're like, all right, no, good night. And they kiss again. And then it turns into a real kiss. And they start making out. And it's very uncomfortable. And I don't know what's going on. And I hate it. And I hate it. And I hate it.
Kelsey and Holland were screaming a lot. And I had already, like, understood where this was going a couple minutes earlier. And Kelsey just kept saying, no, no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. This isn't happening.
And Allegra kept responding, yes, yes, yes.
It was, I don't know why.
And then we had to pause because we threw things at the TV and it broke and it was a whole thing. And we couldn't watch the rest of the episode. That's it.
Goodbye.
But then they wake up the next morning.
And Ellie's naked.
And I'm like, did they actually have sex? Like, what happened? And then Marco's like, oh no, I have an exam. And he's like racing around and being all anxious and probably blaming it on the exam, but is also probably freaking out about what just happened. And Ellie's just like sitting there, like nothing weird happened. She's not being weird enough.
She made a joke.
And she made a joke of like, maybe we should just get a 1-bedroom and save on rent. And then he's like, whoa. And she's like, it was a joke. And then he like runs away.
And
I'm like, Ellie, you're not being weird enough.
We all experiment in college. But Ellie's being way too like, this is normal.
Yeah.
For like the situation, she's definitely being too normal. Like to just like, I don't know. It's just they're too close, and he's too gay for her to come out of this like, lol.
Part of me is like, this is my own headcanon because it's not really it's addressed a little later, but it's not attributed as like the main thing. But I feel like, I don't think 9th grade Ellie ever truly got over Marco.
Yeah, that's why, and it's another reason why it's so weird. It's like, it's so weird because they have that weird history where she like fully had a crush on him the whole time she was his beard. And even he was like figuring it out. But
like real Ellie, not the one that we've been seeing, was like super, even though she was like really sad, like her emotions were at play. She like learned, like she made the responsible thing. She's like, I'm not gonna be your fucking beard forever. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna have my own romantic relationships. I'm like, no, this is not gonna be a thing. But new Ellie is giving me vibes that she's just always been holding out hope, even if she didn't really realize it.
Yeah, totally. No, it was confusing and weird, and I hated it.
Did not care for it. But then we're at school and we're in the hallway and like Emma, Manny, and Damien are hanging out, and Liberty comes over and is like, hey, can I like talk to Damien for a second? And
Manny says something about a boy safari.
Manny says like, walk me to class, I want to go on a hot boy safari. And Emma's like, oh great, I'm the perfect tour guide. It's very weird.
I'm like, what hot boys? You go to Degrassi.
Like, we've already established that no one at this school is good looking.
Like all the hot boys left except for like Jimmy and Spinner.
And like Spinner is like barely. Like maybe on a good day.
He just like glowed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, like Damien is so forgettable. I forget him if he is not immediately on screen.
Absolutely.
Or like constantly mentioned. Like this is an episode in which he is a main part and I forget him in between scenes.
Yeah. And then Liberty's like, hey, I wanted to talk to you. Like last night was kind of weird. Like, is it just me or did you like I felt a weird spark between us? And Damien's like, what? I have a girlfriend. What are you talking about?
The thing about Liberty is that, I mean, she's not wrong, but also the thing about Liberty is that she continues, like, she's gotten better about it, but, like, even from, like, her days of liking JT in, like, grade 8, she has never figured out how to be chill about this kind of thing. It's always like, you like me, right? Like,
but like at the same time,
I commend her for being so like direct and honest, but it's also kind of unsettling.
Well, it's like he plays it off really, really well, like to the point where I'm like, oh, was there like really not flirting? Because he's just like, I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
And he's like, I can't help it if I'm a nice guy, which I hated.
Like, nice guys don't call themselves nice guys. But Liberty's like, I'm not fucking stupid. I'm like, yeah, she's valedictorian, okay? Like,
yeah, it was weird. And then we're back at the house, and Paige is making bacon, and then Ellie and Marco start having a weird coded conversation about bacon that is like, what would you say if you've never eaten bacon before, but then you decide to eat bacon for the first time? You think you'd want to talk about it, right? And then Marco's like, well, what if you never thought you would ever even want to eat bacon? It's like a weird thing.
And Paige is like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Because as soon as Ellie leaves, she's like, okay, what the fuck? Details. But like, Ellie has no fucking chill.
Zero chill.
Because like, okay, Ellie, if you, like, clearly Marco's being weird about it, why would you, like, right in front of Paige, really? But instead, it's like, as soon as Ellie does not get her way, and I mean, like, literally the millisecond she does not get her way, she's, which is, like, the only way I can contextualize how gross she is.
Yeah. She's really just terrible lately. And I don't know, it's just weird and awkward, but Paige is really funny. Paige is like killing it in this episode.
Paige is all of us.
So then when she leaves, she's like, what's going on? And Marco tells her that they like kissed last night. So then we find out like they only kissed too, which I'm kind of relieved about.
And I guess Ellie just gets really comfortable and sleeps with the shirt off.
I don't know why that happened.
Also,
and
like,
Paige is
why?
like, what?
Okay, my question is, so I would understand if they were, like, making out and they were like, no, let's stop, and they were drunk and fell asleep. But they were sober. Why did they, like, make out and they were like, no, let's stop, and then went to sleep in the same bed?
Listen, guys, do you remember in SpongeBob where he, like, in the movie, he had too much ice cream and they acted like they were drunk? Clearly, these people have the tolerance to lactose as a sea sponge. It's the only thing
I mean, that's the only explanation because otherwise it makes no sense. But then we're at the school and Liberty is making her speech and is getting very negative.
But first, so Paige is, because Marco's like, what do I tell Eric? Is it cheating if it's a girl? And Paige is like, it's only cheating if it's cheating in your heart, which
is false.
That is incorrect. That is bad advice.
Also, it's still cheating even if you're gay and you made out with a girl. That still counts.
It's still cheating. It's cheating if it's physical or if you meant it. Like, you can't be like, it wasn't cheating. I fucked a bunch of people, but it wasn't cheating because I didn't mean it.
Like, it wasn't in my heart.
It's like, I'm a gay guy. That means I can touch boobs and it doesn't mean anything. Like, no. Like, it's all, the same rules apply.
But then we're at the school and Liberty is having Toby, like, film her speech. And she's getting very negative, and she's like, you think you know the real Damien, but blah, 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 blah. And Toby's like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, maybe let's not mudsling. And she's like, no, Toby, like, shut up. I'm doing this. And he's like, okay.
Well, she's like, desperate times call for desperate measures. And he's like, you sure got desperate, right? Because Toby lately is just full of fucking zingers.
Toby is just on fire.
Listen, we know that Toby it can be a good side character. But because even still, he's not like, are you sure? He's like really mudslinging, and she's like, shut the fuck up and film. I'm like,
Liberty's a badass.
I love this bro friendship.
I love their friendship so much.
Like, Toby can like sass her, and she's like, you're still gonna do what I'm gonna say, and he's like, well, yeah, but like,
it's a really good friendship.
Yes.
Cheer your yogurt cups.
But then we're at the core because we're waiting for like the announcement of who's gonna become the editor, and then, like, Eric comes over and is like, hey, oh yeah, like, Marco and Ellie are talking, and Marco's like, wait, you didn't tell Eric, right? And he's like, and then Eric walks over and is like, didn't tell me what? And then Ellie's like, oh, that we have to, like, move out because you're not going to be our roommate, haha. And he's like, I mean, it was a tempting offer. And she's like, reconsider. I'm like, why are we trying to force this weird roommate situation?
Go on Craigslist, you idiots.
Ellie even said, okay, we'll just go on Craigslist the first time Eric denied them.
Like, this scene is weird because Ellie, like, Marco's alone and clearly uncomfortable and, like, freaking out. Ellie goes up, like, haha, joke about the thing we did. Oh my God, why are you so upset? Like, there was no pause. She was immediately, like, telling the joke. He didn't change his uncomfortableness. And she's like, oh my God, it was just a joke.
She's like, okay, I guess we're not talking about this.
And then she gets super obsessed with Eric. Like, maybe the obsession stems from, like, she's still obsessed with Marco.
She's, like, compensating.
She's trying to be way too cool. Like, when your ex gets a new girlfriend and you meet her and you're like, oh my God, let's be best friends.
Yep.
But then Jesse Skypes in.
Which is hilarious.
In
He looks so dirty.
In his last appearance on the show ever.
That's because they texted this actor. He's like, I'm not in Toronto. And they're like, okay, but we, like, need you.